On this team, we fight for that itch. On this team, we tear ourselves and everyone else around us to pieces for that itch.
Coming in at 320 kilobytes per second. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for MattieC Sports for you and me.
When it comes to getting dough and chasing dollars.
It's been 3,794 days since I've seen the old man. And not one goes by that I don't think about him.
Watch things happen, make things happen, or wonder what happened. Right now, we're making things happen. I wouldn't trade it for the world.
Not one day that I don't compare my success to his.
Hey, Jeff, how we doing, buddy?
Good, man. Case is ready to go.
But I never realized how big this could get.
Time to rock and roll.
Cornelia Marie's in Hawaii, baby!
My dad was Captain Phil Harris.
For you, buddy!
A legend in the Bering Sea.
I'm a sweetheart. You can't get any better than me. I'm just a smiling Jack.
And he left me with a name.
Yeah. Boom!
Last year, when I found his charts of Hawaii detailing a multi-million-dollar tuna fishery, I started to unravel a mystery.
It looks like your dad experimented with the most productive fishing depths around the entire island.
Oh, like a...
Now, armed with new leads, I'm heading back to the Big Island to uncover the old man's secret past and make his dream my reality. Right as the world turns upside down.
Coronavirus pandemic ripples through Hawaii's economy.
Boats sit idle on the docks. Some stack 4 deep.
But if my dad taught me one lesson, it's if anything's worth a damn,
Wow!
it's worth fighting for.
Sharp. Yeah! Oh. Oh my God, dude. Heard you guys might be hiring. Here I go!
This thing is a monster.
Oh my...
What is he doing?
Fire! No! Run fire! You can't make it up!
Here we are. We really did it this time.
All right, everybody. Welcome to MattieC Sports for You and Me, special edition. So today I got a very special guest from the lovely state of Hawaii. This man is pretty much a big name in Hawaii right now, and honored to have you, Jeff Silva from Deadliest Catch Bloodline, and pretty much a local fisherman, local legend over there. Jeff, how are you this morning? Thanks for waking up so early for me.
Thanks, Matt. Thanks for having me. I'm good, man. I'm good. Things are really good. Just, you know, we're kind of slowly getting back on our feet over here. And I know it's been a rough running for a lot. You know, 2020 was kind of no different for us. So we're kind of slowly opening up our state, and people are kind of slowly coming back over here and, you know, kind of helping us do so. And yeah, man, life's good. No complaints.
Very good. Very good. And so let's start off. I mean, have you been in near Kona most of your life down there, over there? I mean, like lived all your life?
Yeah, so I'm born and raised over here. Yeah, so I'm actually born and raised over here on the Big Island of Hawaii. I'm actually I live in Kailua, Kona now. I'm actually from a little bit more southern part of the island, which is called Milili'i, and it's a really small fishing kind of community based community where I was raised with my father and my mother and a younger brother. And I've been very lucky. I've always kind of called, Hawaii my home, and I've, from surfing and paddling and fishing, I've always kind of been able to have a livelihood based out of the ocean. So I feel very, very, very fortunate that I've been able to do so.
It's amazing how like how beautiful it looks over there. I mean, is it like that pretty much every day? Just looking at I mean, I couldn't even imagine just looking out your window and just seeing the beautiful sunrise and the water, everything. Is it?
Yeah, we're so blessed. Like anything else, man. We're it's a wonderful place to grow up. It's a lot slower pace of life, and I think for a lot of people that kind of grow up here, it's just kind of an accepted daily routine, waking up, seeing the sun, seeing the ocean, and never taking anything for granted. And I think that we're in a very special place over here, and that's why so many people from all over the world want to come and visit and learn our culture and share our traditions. And like I said, I feel very, very, very blessed that I'm able to and provide for, especially now with being so involved in fishing. It's such a fun, neat way to be involved, not just with tourism, but my community, and it just never gets old. I traveled a lot just through surfing and paddling, and I was never sad that I had to come home.
Yeah, I don't think you're gonna go to Boston anytime soon, where there's traffic every 5 minutes and you don't know how long you're gonna get home.
No, no, man. I've been to the East Coast. I've been to New York. I've done quite a bit of traveling up, through the East Coast. But um, I actually love traveling. I love going all over the places. But like I said, it's always nice. It's always nice coming home, and I'm very fortunate that what I get to come home to. But it is different for people. It's I see a lot of people that kind of come and go throughout the islands, whether they're visitors or they're actually people that come and maybe try to relocate and come try Hawaii, try to live here for their, just to start over or try something. And I see people that have success doing it, and then a lot of people it kind of shocks them. It's kind of like overwhelming for them to actually be on an island, and just as fast as they kind of fall in love with the place, they kind of it gets to a space where they don't like not being able to go further than what we're just here, so it's you got to be able to accept the living here, and a lot of it is just there's a lot here. It's just understanding what it is.
Right. And like my cousin who lives in Waikoloa, a little bit north of you, right? Correct?
Correct.
Yeah. So she was telling me, just like you said, like you either can stay there and be comfortable, or it kind of like you're just not fit to live there. And she loves it. I mean, the only thing that was kind of on the back burner was when COVID hit, like all the bars shut down, and like she kind of was out of losing money at that time. And COVID was a big hit. I'm sure it was a big hit where you are or anywhere on the island. And I saw something that I believe you've always done this. You've gone with your business and gone with supporting the local community anywhere that is in need of food or anything like that. And I can respect that because it's a big thing. And I think it's true when you guys say ohana means family and stuff like that. It's truly like the island is a big family, and I respect that over there.
Yeah, when I think when COVID hit, it was something for me personally. It devastated our fishery over here. It devastated a lot of things for a lot of people, and in a way, and for some people that they might not like what I'm gonna say, but for me personally, it wasn't a bad thing. I don't think 100% what happened over here, other than the health effects that happened to people. It was kind of like pressing the reset button on life over here, which was we didn't have a lot of tourism, we didn't have a lot of business, everything was just kind of at a standstill like what it was. But for us, you know, we were very lucky because we still had the ocean, we still had, you know, the mountains, we still had a lot of things that we can go and do. It was just generating an income doing it. You know, last year me and my wife, we had to shut our fishing company down, and we made an agreement that, you know, just because we couldn't go out and fish and make money, it didn't mean that we didn't have to not go out and catch fish to provide, you know. So we ended up kind of getting together with some very, very generous people over here, that we had a team that we just decided we were going to just try to feed as many people as we possibly could. And we didn't really set a goal. We just got involved with churches and, you know, some, we call them like kupuna housing. And that's basically just kind of like retirement homes and stuff like that, because we felt so bad for these people because they couldn't see anybody, man. I mean, that to me was like, that to me, that they were at the most susceptible at that age where they couldn't get sick. But then at the same time, it just was devastating to them because they couldn't have any visitors. They couldn't see their grandchildren. They couldn't see anybody. I mean, my parents lived 5 minutes away from me, and my parents were freaked out to come and see, you know, to come and see my kids and come and see my family. And it just really turned this whole thing into like being scared of one another. And as Hawaiians, like, we're not like that. We're very affectionate people. We're very loving, very giving. And that was, I think, the hardest thing with COVID, was just not being able to greet somebody the normal way we greet them, with like love and, you know, affection. Just all of a sudden, you know, having to stay away from people. And it just it was very, very different, very difficult, I think, emotionally for so many people, because they felt abandoned. And we just kind of people would never know how far the gift of giving something simple like fish, or trading something, you know, we were like old school bartering, like giving fish for pork or vegetables. And it just turned into this whole thing where it was like money wasn't really a factor. It was kind of like what you had. And it was kind of like the way that I was raised. So it was really interesting. And it was kind of a really powerful time that in my life, I've never experienced anything like that. And I think that it was my kids, they're a little younger for them to kind of understand what's going on. But for a lot of the people that saw, I think that they'll look past the whole COVID quarantine and the shutdowns and all that. And I think that there was a lot of positive that was generated out from, you know, just this world just being closed down. It was a very, very good place to do it, which was over here, because people still made you feel like you were loved. People, you know, didn't forget about each other. And it was more powerful that it wasn't just a front of like, you know, that's what aloha is. It was more of people's actions of what they were doing to help people survive.
And I am so like respected by it for doing all that. And, you know, like, you don't have like, I don't think you're one to flaunt anything at all. Like you seem like just a chilled out, relaxed Hawaiian who just enjoys life and fishing and, you know, catching the biggest tuna you can and all that. And like for you to tell me, like, you know, you're helping out retirement homes and you're helping, you know, all in need, that's amazing to me. Like, and you don't have to like you don't have to go to your local newspaper and say, oh, hey, I did this, or, you know, you just did it out of the kindness of your heart. And that's the stuff behind the scenes that, you know, I respect you more for not even trying to do anything crazy like that. So my one thing for you is, so I want to pronounce this right. Your fishing company, how do you say your fishing company?
So my fishing company is pronounced Ula Ula.
Okay.
Ula
I'm
Ula.
just making sure.
Yeah.
I didn't want to say it wrong.
Yeah. No, man. Part of learning Hawaiian is, for me personally, is the joy of watching guys like you try to pronounce it. That's half the reason that we name things the ways that we do.
Okay, cool. Because I did buy a hat
so that we can listen to you guys try. And that's the joy. That's the joy of any. That's the joy of learning any language is learning how to try to announce something or pronounce something. And Hawaiians when they made our language, where our olelo, as we call it, it was they liked vowels, man. They used a lot of A's, they used a lot of U's, and they used a lot of words that just kind of carried off into the abyss. They kind of still go longer than you and me would ever know.
That's wicked cool though. Like I like how they like it's like a whole nother language, and I think that's so cool. And like I don't know, it's just cool you guys are so chilled out with things, unless you're catching a tuna, of course. So with so you join Jeff and Jeff and Casey, I'm sorry. And
Josh and Casey.
Josh and Casey, yeah. I'm sorry. I'm like half awake. But
no, it's all good, man.
What made them come to you in Hawaii?
It's a really good question. The way I actually met Casey was very random, very basic. Basically, I came in from fish. I met him a couple times because his family has had a home over here for for some time, and I do know. I never met them, but they're the cast from Deadliest Catch from the main show is actually a lot of those guys have come here to Hawaii for a long time. They've come here and vacation here, and I believe some of them have even shot like some cameos and a lot of footage for the shows. I know that they did things throughout here, but they never really had anything. It didn't have anything to do with the show that we were looking at doing, which is Bloodline. And I met Casey some years back. I want to say maybe I met Casey maybe 6 or 7 years ago was the first time I actually saw him.
Oh, okay.
And met him. And that was actually when he was just actually getting on Deadliest Catch, when I think he had just partnered up with Josh on the Cornelia. And I kind of saw him passing through a mutual friend. He'd go fishing and I'd see him out there. And I think that he kind of, just from passing in time. And one day I came in from fishing and I think I caught some fish that day. I don't remember exactly what I had, but he was over in Kona with a bunch of his friends and crew from Catch, and one of his buddies was getting married, and so he needed fish, and so he was trying to buy a fish off of me because he knew I had them. And make a long story short, I didn't sell him a fish. I ended up making kind of just a really big spread for him and his team, his boys. And I made him a bunch of poke and a bunch of sashimi and a bunch of other stuff, and just took it down. And we just had a really fun night. And me and him just, believe it or not, stayed up late and had some drinks on his tailgate. And he asked me, "Hey, what do you think about doing a show over here?" And this is the all honest truth. And I just said, I don't know. He kind of planted a seed if I thought that, like that we would be able to do anything. And I just said, yeah, there's always a possibility of doing a show, because at the time he was thinking about wanting to come over here, but we didn't really have anything solid as far as what the show would really be based around. And when he left, he went and did a remodel on the Cornelia Marie.
Right.
With Josh Harris. At that point, Josh, we actually, and when Casey left here, when he kind of was saying, "Hey, what do you think about maybe coming over and checking us out?" I just kind of took it with a grain of salt. I didn't really think anything was going to happen. And they went back home and they did this big remodel on the boat, and they found a bunch of charts from Phil that were from all over. And one of the charts was from the Big Island. And so, they contacted me and said, "Hey, what do you think?" And I looked at everything and I said, "Yeah, I think everything looks good." And they said, "I think we're gonna come over and give this a go." They kind of came. They decided they want to come over here and kind of shoot this whole thing with Josh kind of pursuing his father's legacy. And I thought it was a great idea. I thought it was really, really strong. I thought it was good. I actually followed the show quite a bit, Deadliest Catch, and I actually followed a lot of the story between Josh and his father Phil, and I respected Josh for wanting to come over here and really learn more about his father's legacy. And it was kind of like a Hansel and Gretel type of thing, where his dad kind of left all these breadcrumb trails, and Josh is just in this emotional state where he was just trying to like pick it up, and I think learn really the direction of what his father had kind of left behind for him and his brother. And that was basically everything that he needed, or all he needed, to want to come over here and kind of try this fishery out.
And I watched the show for a long time myself, and watching Cornelia, and then watching the Northwestern, like all those boats out there. And then once they came to where you are in Kona, and I was like seeing what you were all about. And then like when you first see like just piles and piles of tuna just like all across, and I'm like, oh my God, look at all those fish, man. And you guys are just like you made it seem easy, and I know it's extremely hard, and especially when you have one boat and you're like, okay, I have 3 here, well you guys got like 1.
yeah
I'm like this is amazing. Like, in all the stuff you were doing, like I was like, this dude's badass. He's going doing all this stuff by himself, and like it was amazing. And like that, there was one particular episode where you, Casey, and Josh were you were going down in Kona South, and you were on a rocky area, and it was like thundering and like raining like crazy, and you guys had to like not ditch the boat, but jump out the boat and like swim and like go up top and sleep. Like what's it like sleeping on that stuff, man? That must be terrible.
Yeah, a lot of it is our island over here. Our island, we're called the Big Island. Is we refer to the Big Island as the Big Rock, because we don't have a whole lot of sand over here on our island. All the other islands kind of stole all of our sand, like Oahu and Kauai and Maui. They took all the beautiful sand. So we got a lot of really pristine, beautiful coastline, but it's called Pali. It's called like it's a lot of cliff, a lot of rocks. It's beautiful, but it's not really easy accessible. And that's kind of anywhere that you'll kind of go. And, and that particular point in the show, it was kind of really taking these guys out of their element. You know what I mean? They're so used to being on a big boat with having, crew, and what they do respectfully is insane in their own world. But what we're doing over here, it's not far off from them. It's just different circumstances. We're on smaller boats. Most of the guys over here that are fishing, we grew up fishing by ourselves. And if we had a partner on the boat, most of the time it was either your dad or your uncle or one of your friends. If your dad was crazy enough to let you and your friend take his boat out or something like that, you know what I mean? But you really just kind of get used to the outcrops of what this island is, and it's rock. It's just rock and cliff. There is some sand throughout, but that particular episode was really about just getting these guys outside the element of where they were comfortable. And especially Josh, I really pushed Josh in on the show, simply because this whole thing was kind of his adventure. I mean, it had kind of happened in my backyard, but at the same time, I really wanted him to understand what it was that he was getting into, that it wasn't just going to all be, sunshine and fairy tales. There was a lot of possibilities of getting hurt. And there's a lot of things that he needed to learn, which was, possibilities of breakdowns, not making it back in. There's so many things that can happen to us out there. And I really wanted him to understand the nature of is that, the ocean's always going to win. You're always going to be at the mercy of the ocean. And we're not on a 130-foot boat. We're on 19, 20-foot boats. Some guys are even on even smaller boats over here. So it was really him understanding the system when, you know, if we're on good fishing, we're not going to go all the way home. We're going to stay somewhere. Sometimes we're going to stay out at sea. And sometimes we're going to find maybe a little cove somewhere where we can kind of anchor up and maybe sleep on the boat. Or if there's a, you know, if there's a beach somewhere that we can kind of get to, you know, anything is possible over here. And I wanted to really make sure that those guys were aware that, I wasn't going to baby them. I really wanted them to learn that if they were going to do this over here with me, you know, they have to do it the way that I grew up. And I didn't grow up a way where, you know, it was really soft and easy. It was a hard lifestyle, not a bad lifestyle, just the hard one. And that's, to me, you know, they had a lot of catching up and a lot of learning to do outside of just only catching fish. They needed to learn, you know, there's a lot more that just comes with just catching fish over here. There's a lot of experiences that they haven't encountered. And that was just one, you know, not going home and, you know, sleeping either on the ocean or, you know, anchoring the boat so that when we wake up in the morning, we can kind of go back out where we knew that the fish were. So we'd be closer to this so that, you know, they could really understand what it's going to take to, you know, for them to catch fish.
Yeah. And it seemed like it was like more of like a survival and life lesson kind of thing, like that you were, you know, I know the elements were there, but like you were like trying to show them that like, hey, we might have to sit here, but we might have to like sleep somewhere, or you need to really pick your battles in this water. Like you said, the ocean never stops. So
no,
I mean,
no.
is there something like you say a certain like fisherman's prayer or anything before you go out or anything like that, like to just get your like mind and spirit like ready to go?
Yeah, you know, I wouldn't say like I'm a very religious person, but I do believe, you know, basically the way that I look at it is I look at the ocean is basically my church. That's how I look at it.
Right.
And before I go, you know, out to, it's a little bit different of a church because, you know, it's you know, there's I'm catching, I'm taking, you know, there's a lot that goes into it. And the ocean's, you know, very powerful. I've always said that the ocean's probably one of the most powerful things, is the most powerful thing in the entire world, whether you believe in a God or you believe in a religion or whatever it is. The ocean's no joke. The ocean will take you in a heartbeat. I've lost people very close to me in the ocean. I've seen, you know, from diving to surfing to fishing, you name it all. You're just at the mercy of the ocean. And, you know, the Hawaiians were very very respectful of the ocean, not just because you know, they knew what it was and they were scared of it. They also knew what the ocean provided for them. It provided a whole was basically like their refrigerator. You know, they would go in and they would collect, they would dive, they would, you know, anything that they needed that they could possibly want food wise was there for them. And so a lot of it for me is, you know, I fish 90% out on the ocean by myself. There's days I have to go very, very far. There's days I'm not in communication with anybody or my family. And it's just kind of more of a system where, you know, you mentally have to prepare. People just think because a lot of times you're on really nice water all the time, you're like, oh, well, it's nice there. And, you know, it's 82 degrees. You know, things happen all the time on a daily basis. Even if the water's nice, it doesn't matter. You know, there's a million things that can kill you on your boat. It's like the same thing on Deadliest Catch. I mean, the ocean, the Bering Sea is crazy, but more guys end up getting hurt on the boat than they do getting hurt by the ocean. And so, you know, it's, you know, to sum it all up, you know, mentally, you have to put yourself in a mind state, you know, that you're ready to handle all that. And, we call it a pulley. It's basically like just a small prayer. And I usually do like a really small prayer when I leave the land. I just basically, you know, I ask Keakua, which is the, you know, our God, my God that I believe in. I ask him to watch over, you know, my family, my friends, and my loved ones. And I watch over myself and, you know, to help me provide for what I'm out there doing. And then when I do catch something out there, I always pray over that fish. And I'm thankful for, you know, being given that fish, because that's what I'm out there to do. And I'm thanking that fish because I've taken that fish's life, and I want whatever energy's out there to know that that fish is going to provide for my family, and it's going to go provide for people that, you know, that need. So it's just all in a retrospect of just being grateful, feeling blessed, and, you know, in some way, shape, or form, you know, giving back. That to me is the only way that you're able to make it work out on the ocean every day.
And it seems like you're doing that pretty much as you can for your community. I mean, what is it that, is there a certain, I know you said there isn't like a certain goal you want to have as a number, but I mean, I find that's really cool still, that you guys still barter with, you know, fish for pork or any type of food like that. Like, does it feel like much better that it's a bartering system? Like, I think that's really cool, because some people are just like, no, I want straight cash or whatever, you know?
Yeah, I mean, you know, last year with the pandemic, with COVID, and it's still affecting us this year, but last year it was actually almost a year ago. It was almost a year ago. March 17th, 2020 was actually when we just all of our sales, meaning that we had no market, which meant that we had no fish sales. So my company is 100% sustainable fishing company, which means we don't just go out and go fish or go fishing just to go out and go fish and see what we can catch. I fish around my orders. You know, if I have big orders, lots of times I'll not just take my fish, but I have a lot of other local fishermen that I work with, and I try to work with them to really establish a market over here where I'm able to help, you know, our local fishery, because we don't really have anything other outside the lines of you know, selling fish to local restaurants and stuff like that. So when all these local restaurants closed down, everybody kind of looked at each other like, well, what's everybody gonna do? There was no answer from the state or from the government. There was like, I mean, you know, there was some funds that were dispersed, but most of, as you can imagine, the big boats, the big fleets, all those boats, they were the ones that took a lot of that funding was taken by, you know, the bigger boats that have bigger overhead. And you know, for us, we were just kind of left with a survival mode. And, you know, the guys over here, I've learned a long time ago that, you know, the guys that I fish with, that I grew up fishing with, have turned into, in my opinion, some of the best fishermen I've ever seen in my life. And, you know, I've traveled all over the world, you know, through surfing and through paddling, and fishing has always been something that I've just loved and enjoyed to do. And I've just kind of kept eyes on what guys are doing, even when I was maybe not even really fishing. I kind of just always paid attention. And the two things that I noticed were, you know, we have some of the best fishermen I've ever seen over here, from charter boat fishermen to shoreline fishermen to divers to, you know, to commercial fishermen to just recreational fishermen. Everybody over here grew up fishing, and these guys can fish, like, for real. And I'm very, very blessed that I have fishermen like that over here, not just on the Big Island, but even in the entire state, all around the islands. These guys over here know how to provide for their families. And so whether there was an industry or not for them to sell, it was just like a chain effect. Everybody kind of saw that everybody needed help in their own ways. And a lot of fishermen, a lot of guys stepped up and really helped out so many people. And it wasn't something that was done for social media or for fame. It was just done because people needed help. And that was
right. Yeah.
kind of how we always grew up. In our heart, we knew that, yeah, no matter what, you know, you're going to provide for somebody that needs it. You're going to give over sell. That's the bottom line. And, you know, our industry last year, it collapsed. And like anything, we struggle with some of the bigger boats that fish on the outside, because they're able to fish further out than we can get to. And obviously their boats are a lot bigger. They can hold a lot more fish than us. And when they come back in, a lot of these boats sell to the same markets, and it's nothing illegal. It's just the way that it is. They're going further. They're able to catch more. And when they come back in, they're selling to the same fish brokers that, that other guys are selling to. And it's really, really easy if people aren't here taking the fish. It just floods out where there's no price and the fish isn't really being moved. And it's just something that's it's scary. And so for our company, for my company, we decided to go a lot more in a direction of sustainability, which made it more about one fish being caught and making the struggle. My goal was to really show the struggle on the show. I wanted to show every person that, that likes to eat fish, whether it's, here or far, the struggle of what it takes to catch one of these things. It's not easy. And there's less and less and less of them around. They've gotten smaller over the years. And, to me, it's something that needs to be noted that, we're impacting our fisheries on a life threatening scale. And we can't look at selling fish in our industry the way that we've been doing it for the last 50, 60 years, or there's not going to be anything left. So I don't really like, the direction of where our industry is going about catching mass megatons of fish. I'm actually against it. And so for me personally, I like targeting one fish at a time. And my goal is to raise the price of these one fish, which has actually never been done. We've got the same fishing prices over here in Hawaii now that we have since, when I was a young kid. And the price of fish when I grew up was in between, $3 to $4 a pound. I remember that's what my dad used to get when I was young, when I was my son's age, 6 or 7. And believe it or not, the price will even go lower than that over here. And there's not even as much fish around. So there's really not a lot being done fishing wise, that's really looking out for guys that fish in this week. We're being known as like the small being done. Personally, it's a very controversial thing, but I believe in it, that we need to change the way that we're selling our fish, because if we don't, and we keep chasing this thing where we're constantly trying to catch, tons and tons and tons of fish, there's just not going to be enough around to supply the world in the future,
Right. And where I'm from, Massachusetts is a big fishing industry as well. I mean, we have lobster, we have all this type of
you guys got bluefin up there.
Yes, we do. And also, as you know, like we have the guys from like Wicked Tuna, they're from up here, and they're going down south, and there's just a lot of fishery everywhere. And like you said, when mass boats are coming in and just sweeping them all out, you're not only hurting the population of the fish, you're also hurting the fishing industry for guys like you who work hard to do this stuff. And it's the most unfortunate part of your guys' business. But I respect how you guys I like how you put it as the different types of industry of fishing, like divers, and you guys and stuff like that. Like, it's cool that you guys are all a family over there. So I hope fishing stays good, and I hope the prices go up for you. And my final question to you is, so what is your future plans, Jeff, from now on in?
My future plan, Matt, is things are kind of slowly turning back on over here in Hawaii, and we're slowly as a state opening back up, which is very good. We've got really kind of tight travel restrictions, but that's gonna have to do whatever it takes to kind of get our community back on its feet, and it's gonna take some time. We're not out of the woods yet, but slowly we don't really have a whole lot of cases over here of COVID, but at the same time, we've got enough to where our government feels good. We're opening back up. And what that does for me is it opens our industry back up to where we can kind of start fishing and start selling again, and that to me means everything, because I'm able to build, my company, and I'm able to help out people and more fishermen, and we're generating revenue again, and we're slowly kind of getting back into it. But as I said earlier, this whole thing for me personally is kind of hit the reset button, and I learned a lot about my company. I learned a lot about people, and this is both kind of on and off the show, and it's been really good, a really good building template for me to move forward with with Casey and Josh, and really evaluate what is necessary in Ula Ula Fish Co., so that we can basically build the best sustainable fishing company that we can do, that people are happy with our product and they respect our service. And a lot of that is coming from, what I've kind of been talking to you about, that, they need to understand that there's not a lot of fish around anymore. And we're trying to make these fish special, so that every time someone eats them and they enjoy them, they know that it comes from a fisherman like myself. Mm-hmm. And I think that that's important, really making people aware that that's the direction of fishing that we need to go. We need to think about our keiki, our kids, that generation of fishing, because if we don't, there's just not going to be fish around. So that's really my goal moving forward in life, in business, is just to really try to be the best partner, best fisherman, best husband, best dad that I can be. I got a family, I got 3 kids, I got a wife, and that's always the struggle of fishing, is finding balance in life to make everybody happy.
I know it.
Whether it's a client or it's mom, you always got somewhere to be. And 2020 was a hard year for a lot of people, and we worked really hard. And I'm happy to announce we have season 2 of Deadliest Catch Bloodline coming out here in about 3 weeks. I think it's going to premiere somewhere around mid-April on Discovery Channel. And I think that it's going to be a really, really strong, powerful season. I think a lot of people will be able to relate, kind of what happened. And I also think that a lot of people are going to kind of look to the show as kind of an escape to see, what really happened, how we were able to get through this pandemic. And there was a lot of trials and a lot of tribulations and a lot of emotion that went into season 2. So I'm really looking forward to seeing it.
Me too. Well, Jeff, thank you very much for your time. And I know you got some fishing business to do right now. So thank you for coming.
I don't know if you've noticed, man. I'm sitting in my truck, man. I got my box in the back. I'm actually getting ready to go do a delivery. So I'm as soon as I hang up with you, I'm boogieing out, and it's Saturday. I'm gonna go drop my fish, and I'm gonna go enjoy my day. So
I love it, man.
I'm super stoked. I got to do this with you. This was really cool, and I really appreciate you having me on, and yeah, man, it's been a blast talking to you.
Oh yeah, same with you, man. So next time I come over there, please let me on your boat, and then don't take me to 30-foot waves. But
it's the ocean, man. I can't promise you anything on the ocean, but yeah, it would definitely be cool to link up. And again, man, I really appreciate your time, and yeah, we'll definitely do this again. It's been fun.
Same to you, brother, and stay safe, and bless you every day you're on that water. Stay safe, man, and spend good time with your family, man.
Same to you, man. Same to you.